Happy Tuesday, everyone. Um, Hope you're having a great start to the week so far. For those of you who are Monday to Friday crowd, my week's going pretty good so far. Enjoying some pretty good days over the weekend, which went well for me. And yesterday was a good day. I'm learning to live through even the days where I'm feeling on edge, which is most. A lot of times that anxiety and depression is just below the surface. But I'm finding that I'm coming up with some good methods for being able to still move forward with my day and take steps forward. Um, so today I just wanted to go into a little bit more um, depth as far as my own personal experience so far, and then maybe some thoughts and questions and maybe some answers that'll resonate for those of you out there who are watching. Um, I don't know why it came up for me today, but I was thinking about the last time I quit smoking, and I mean the last time because well, I haven't started up again since that last time, but there were multiple attempts prior to that. I think I tried in total since I was 15 and started smoking. I think I tried maybe a half a dozen times in total, and I tried various different methods. I tried the patch, I tried Champex, I tried cold turkey several times. Never tried hypnotism or laser therapy, but I do know people who tried that. Ultimately, the one that worked for me was cold turkey. And the funny thing is, it wasn't something that I planned on. A lot of stop smoking advice out there is pick a date and set it and plan for it and have a process in place, have a support system in place. I think that's all good advice if you're wanting to quit smoking or really to kick any addiction or habit that you're trying to kick. Um, but ultimately, I think it comes down to timing, and it has to be the right time. And for me, um, when I quit, it was quite spontaneous. The last time, I was actually on my way to the store to buy a pack. I had my daughter in the car with me. Usually, once I got down to two or three cigarettes left in a pack, that's when I go and buy two more packs. And what I would do is throw that pack with two or three in it into my console of my vehicle, and that sort of became my emergency reserve. And I'd usually consolidate those into whatever other packs were in there. So at any point in time, I'd have half a dozen to a dozen cigarettes as my emergency reserve. At this point, I was going through easily a pack a day. So that gives you an idea why my emergency reserve had to be so substantial. Um, but yeah, as I was driving to the store, this voice in my head just said, "What if you don't?" And for a change, I listened to it, and I just thought, "Okay, what if I don't?" And drove home, went past the store, and continued on home, and got home that night, and I smoked my last cigarette, I think, at about 12:30 at night before going to bed. And I haven't had one since. I was driving to work the next day, and I remember getting onto the Anthony Henday, and I remembered my emergency reserve. And at that point in the morning, I would have already have had probably two or three. Um, so I was definitely itching for it, and I reached into the console and I grabbed the pack, and one of the few times in my life that I'll openly admit to being a litter bug, I rolled down my window and I pitched him out the window as I was getting onto the Henday, and there was this weight that lifted, and I felt very good and positive and free, and there was something empowering too. That wasn't the end of it. I wish it was. Quitting smoking was a challenge. It took some willpower for sure. Um, and the reason I think that came up for me today is in the coming days, weeks, months, even now, I get the occasional craving coming up. I think on 5 years now. Um, but the the overused, often cliche saying that came up for me and still does in those moments where I have those cravings is, "This too shall pass." And I would take some deep breaths. This too shall pass. This craving will pass. Um, and inevitably it always has. And they've gotten shorter and less intense over the years. And actually, it only took really a few days for those physical cravings to get past. And I have an app. It's called My Last Cigarette. Some of you have seen screenshots of it over the years, different milestones. It's pretty cool. And in those first few days and weeks and months, I would sit and I would open up that app and I would look at the stats. I would look at the progress that I've made so far. I'd look at where I want to get to, all the bars getting to green for the different health metrics. And I'm not there yet on the lungs, but man, it's been a great experience seeing that progress. So I think that's what's coming up for me now is this too shall pass, because now I'm dealing with something different, and this anxiety and depression has come up for me. And I'll say it's been a bit of a work in progress, even getting to that mindset that I just said in its simple words. It's come up for me. I've gone through moments in the past several months where I felt deep despair and darkness, and the question comes up: why is this happening to me? Why now? And just that shift in perspective of, this isn't happening to me, this is happening for me, and it's happening now, because now I'm ready for it. I don't always feel like I am, but I think the evidence says I am. Otherwise, it wouldn't be. I stopped drinking several months back. Again, quite out of the blue. It wasn't something I was planning to do. It took me off guard as much as it took the people in my life off guard. And I think I've shared with you all some of my experience around that and my thoughts around it. But I think quitting smoking, I was ready for that. That was the right time in my life to let go of that crutch. And quitting drinking, I don't know if I'll never have a drink again, but for right now, it's the right time in my life for letting go of that crutch. And I think the two combined have allowed for a lot of stuff to come up to the surface that I've been keeping down. And along with it has come this deep anxiety and depression, because I think this is stuff that's been festering for most of my life, and now it's coming out, and it's seeping out because I can't handle it all at once, but I can handle it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be letting it out, and I wouldn't be at a place where I can let it out. So why is this coming up for me now? As simple as possible, the best answer I can come up with is because I'm ready. Why me? I think the best answer I have is that I have and always have for a long time. I think it's why I got into sales and how I got into to coaching and training. Was I have a gift for gab. I have a gift for articulating certain things in a way that simplifies it and makes it easy to understand for most people. And I think maybe now this is it coming up for me in my life so that I can speak about it and I can share. So today I've kind of run on here, but I wanted to share not just that experience for me, but I wanted to use that as a platform to set up sharing where I'm at now and what are some of the mechanisms that are in place. What are some of the tools that I've found that have been helpful? I've talked a lot over the last several weeks and months about seeking professional help, talking to a therapist, talking to a psychologist, talking to your doctor, and that's one path, and that's I think a very important path depending on where you're at and how deep it runs for you. I know it was a necessity for me, and it's been exponentially helpful. But that's once a month, that's once a week, that's once every couple of weeks. For different people, it's going to vary, and for me, it's varied over the years, the frequency. But on a day-to-day basis, we don't always have that professional help, and we need tools in place. I need tools in place to help me through. And not having alcohol or tobacco or drugs aside from my medication, and that's one tool, using my medication and adhering to it. That becomes incredibly important. If you are on medication, use it as directed. And it seems so simple, but the stats bear out that so many people get prescriptions and get medication, and they don't use their medication as directed. They don't fill the prescriptions. If they fill them, they don't take them. We are blessed in this country with a healthcare system that is incredibly accessible and incredibly cheap. So if you have access to it, and it's something that your mental health practitioner and your physician have all agreed upon is useful, then make use of it. Especially if your symptoms are really strong, as it was for me. Next, probably the number one tool that I've found that has helped me over the past several months has been meditation. And most of you know I'm not a very religious person, and meditation tends to conjure up religious thoughts and images. But really, meditation is about, for me, it's about finding quiet and peace and stillness, and in that finding a way to move forward and to quiet the mind. And it's not about blocking thoughts, it's about allowing them to flow. It's not about blocking feelings, which I thought it was. It's allowing them to flow and simply observing them. There's some great apps out there for those of you who are interested in it or are into it already, but are looking for new ways to get into it. One is called Insight Timer. It's a free app. There's a ton of meditations on there. And there's one for just about anybody, whether you're just beginning, whether you want just a quick 1, 2, 3 minutes. You can search by time, you can search by theme, you can search. There's visualization meditations. I've found those, for me personally, aren't really the best tool, but for some people I know they have great effects. There's mantras, again, not something that I've taken to very strongly. I tend to find just simple meditations that get me focusing on breathing, on my body, on being present, and allowing the thoughts and feelings to flow naturally. But you'll find on that app alone, you'll find, I'm sure, something that can resonate for you and help you through whatever you're going through. Another app is called Waking Up by Sam Harris. He's got a podcast that I think is fantastic. There's all kinds of different topics that he covers, but his app Waking Up is a meditation app, and he focuses in on just what I'm talking about, on clarity, on being present, on focusing on the breath and being present in the body, and allowing thoughts and feelings to arise and to flow naturally. There's another great app called Mindshift that's got a ton of useful tools on it, which I won't spend a lot of time going into here today, but wanted to cover off a few more tools, and you'll find them actually in that app, a lot of them. Another one for me has been exercise. I've shared some of my physical realizations about my body and about exercise. I mean just going for a brisk walk. I find if I'm feeling anxious, my heart rate's going up. I go for a brisk walk, 5-10 minutes, and it's almost like the engine is revving too high, so you just rev it up, and then everything kind of settles back down, and that's really helped for me. I've lost about 25 pounds over the last 6 months or so too, so that's been a positive side effect, just to being a little bit more active, and using exercise as a way to vent off some of that built up energy and emotion. Diet is another one. Fewer carbs, less sugar, less spikes, more fat, more protein. And there's a variety of different ways of getting those into your diet, with whether you're eating a plant-based diet or a combination of. But I have found, for me personally, less carbs, especially in the morning, higher fat, higher protein, has given me a better place to start my day from, and it's given me a good platform. I find fewer spikes throughout the day. I haven't eliminated caffeine, but certainly have cut down most days to intaking less than what I used to. Talking, just talking, doing these videos has helped me. But more so talking to the people in my life, sharing with my wife how I'm feeling. She's been great for coaxing that out of me too, and asking me and asking me to share with her. So journaling, keeping a gratitude journal has really helped. So those are some of my tools that I've gone to, and they've really helped. You know, I want to leave you with a thought that equates to sort of self-improvement and betterment over the years. And it was something that I came up with, wanted to look into when I was doing sales training, and it was about self-improvement and about daily improvement and about what we do. And I thought of gold mining, and I went and did a little bit of research to find out how much dirt needs to be moved and processed to find an ounce of gold. And of course, there's no simple number. One company is reporting varied anywhere from 2 tons to 91 tons. But needless to say, it's a lot of dirt that needs to be moved to get to the gold. So keep moving the dirt. And some days it feels fruitless and useless and hopeless, but keep moving the dirt, and you'll keep finding that gold. And that's really what makes it worthwhile, because we all have it in us. The gold is there. You just got to keep moving the dirt. So hope you enjoyed today. If you did, please subscribe, please like, please share. You can click on the subscribe button below. You can click on the little bell to give you reminders of when I post new videos, and share with anybody in your life who you think might get some value from this. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you all next Tuesday.